Single motherhood as social engineering. Single motherhood is often framed as empowerment. It's praised in media, rewarded in policy, and portrayed as a badge of strength. But beneath the slogans and sympathy lies something far more engineered. What looks like freedom is often state-managed dependency. What looks like a choice is often a coercion, structured through economic pressure, legal bias, and cultural propaganda. The rise of single motherhood wasn't organic. It was manufactured. And it's now so normalized that to question it is treated as an attack. But this isn't about attacking mothers. It's about exposing how an entire generation of women were systematically positioned to raise children alone, not because they failed, but because the system set them up to. Let's start with the legal foundation. No-fault divorce. Introduced in the United States in 1969 and spread quickly throughout Western nations, no-fault divorce allowed one spouse to unilaterally dissolve a marriage without proving wrongdoing. On the surface, this seemed fair, removing shame and rigidity from marital dissolution. But in practice, it shattered the concept of marriage as covenant and turned it into a disposable contract. Commitment could now be terminated based on feelings. Stability became optional. The consequences were predictable and immediate. Divorce rates skyrocketed, and most of those divorces left the mother with the children, and the father removed not just emotionally, but legally and financially. The family was split, and the child now belonged functionally to the mother and the state. Next came family court. In custody battles, courts consistently favor mothers. Even in cases where the father is fit, involved, and committed, default custody is almost always granted to the mother. The father becomes a visitor, a provider, a source of funds, not guidance. Child support becomes a weapon. Visitation becomes a privilege, not a right. And in many cases, fathers simply give up, beaten down by years of legal battles they can't afford to keep fighting. What this created was a predictable new norm: the mother as sole guardian, with the state standing behind her, not as protection, but as controller. Welfare, housing, food assistance, tax credits, these all became tools used to make single motherhood not just survivable, but often preferable to marriage under the system's rules. Now layer on media and cultural engineering. The strong single mom archetype is now everywhere. TV shows, movies, marketing campaigns. She's framed as heroic, glamorous, independent. Meanwhile, married mothers are shown as trapped, bored, or foolish. Dependency on a man is framed as weakness. Dependency on the system? That's just reality. The deeper shift here is ideological, replacing husbands with institutions. The state becomes the new provider. Public schools replace family teaching. Government food programs replace a husband's income. The doctor becomes the authority figure. The social worker becomes the decision maker. Over time, the mother answers more to the state than to her spouse, or to herself. This transformation wasn't accidental, it was strategic. When the father is removed and the mother becomes overwhelmed, she turns to help. And the system is ready to offer it. But that help comes with terms: compliance, alignment, surveillance, dependence. Consider the term often used to describe this model: the nanny state. It's not just metaphor. The government literally assumes the role of caretaker, economically, educationally, emotionally. And in doing so, it gains influence over the next generation in ways that no family ever would have allowed under normal conditions. But here's what rarely gets said: this doesn't empower mothers. It exhausts them. Single mothers are often celebrated in public but abandoned in private. They carry the emotional burden of parenting, the financial burden of survival, and the spiritual burden of legacy, all without support. And they're not supposed to complain. If they do, they're told they chose this. That they should be grateful for what they have. That they should just work harder. It's not liberation. It's silent servitude. And the children? They pay the price. Not because their mothers don't love them, but because children were never meant to be raised without polarity, without structure, without dual presence. The masculine and feminine are not interchangeable. They are complementary. And without both, the child does not receive the full developmental blueprint. Boys raised without fathers often grow up confused about authority and identity. They may idolize pop culture figures, fall into peer pressure, or collapse into emotional dysregulation. Girls raised without fathers may grow up insecure, approval-seeking, or emotionally hyper-independent. In both cases, the child lacks anchoring. The sense of balance is lost. And the mother? She has no backup. She has no mirror. She becomes both nurturer and disciplinarian, roles that were never meant to be housed in one body. The stress is spiritual, not just logistical. And over time, it wears her down. This isn't empowerment. This is exhaustion, disguised as strength. Now add one more layer: surveillance and control. Many state programs include regular check-ins, home visits, compliance rules, and mandatory reporting. If a single mother steps out of line, refuses certain medical procedures, questions the school system, disciplines her child in ways the state disapproves of, she can lose her benefits. Or worse, she can lose her child. That's not freedom. That's dependency with a leash. So we must ask the harder question: why is this the model being promoted? Why is a structure that weakens families, burdens women, and confuses children being upheld as a social good? Because it creates individuals who are easier to manage. When no one is supported by family, everyone must be supported by the system. And when that happens, the system becomes God. It decides what is safe, what is true, what is acceptable. It raises the child. It regulates the parent. It designs the culture. It becomes the architect of human life. And underneath it all, the sacred design of motherhood is twisted. The mother, once the spiritual guardian of the home, becomes an agent of the system. Not because she wants to be, but because the alternatives were systematically erased. Her partnership was removed, her support was replaced, and her soul, once held by family, is now held by policy. This is the new model: motherhood without marriage, nurture without polarity, love without legacy. It is not just a social shift, it is an engineered collapse. What was once the center of civilization has become a tool of compliance. And unless we name it, we will raise generation after generation in this structure, believing it is freedom when it is actually control. This is dissolving the family structure. Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing. And no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future. Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems. The behavioral economy now governs access. 4. Hive Mind. Synthetic telepathy and collective algorithmic control. 5. Nanobots inside you. Medical, military, and programmable intrusions. 6. Grief Tech. AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading your mind, consciousness transfer, and data-based identity. 8. Deep fakes plus AI clones. The replication of reality and identity theft. 9. Quantum humans. The merger of biology with quantum systems. 10. Digital afterlife, where your data goes when you die. 11. Resurrection science, reviving life through synthetic methods. 12. Immortal science, the end of death as we know it. 13. Longevity science, gene editing, anti-aging, and bio-upgrades. 14. Designer babies, engineered perfection before birth. 15. Artificial wombs, birth decoupled from the female body. 16. 3D printing, printing organs, limbs, and even humans. 17. The humanoid era, the rise of synthetic beings among us. 18. Legacy humans, the slow phase-out of unmodified analog people. 19. Smart cities, algorithmic environments that watch and decide. 20. Cloud-based societies, citizenship without borders or bodies. 21. Hackable humans, emotion, memory, and behavior under code. 22. Biometric scanning, your body is your password and your prison. 23. Sex tech, intimacy reprogrammed by machines. 24. Extinction of gender, fluidity, deletion, and design of identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.